On the edge of the big bed, you'll see some squash. And what I wanted to show you about squash is just like the cucumbers, squash have imperfect flowers. So if you can see under my finger here, we have a flower, and then right behind it is a little swollen area that's looking like a small squash. And as the squash grows, after it's pollinated, it gets a little bit bigger and eventually turns into, in this case, it would be a yellow summer squash that you can use in a stir fry or something like that. Now the other thing I wanted to point out is that fruits like this, and a squash is a fruit that we eat, has what's called a blossom end up here, where the flower is attached, and a stem end. So if you take a look in the grocery store at your squash, you can see where the stem is. And I just wanted to point out that on the other end is where the flower was. That means that the ovary, because remember this is a ripened ovary, the ovary was kind of hanging out at the bottom of the flower. And when that happens, when the ovary's under the place where the petals attach on the flower, that's called an inferior ovary, or the other word for it is epigynous, and I'll have those words in the lecture so that you can see them. But where you have the case of an inferior ovary or an epigynous flower, it means that you're going to very easily have a nice blossom end, and you'll also have a stem end. All right, now just down the bed a little bit, we have strawberry. Strawberry is a really cool example, and you can always fool a lot of people with it because we normally think of the strawberry, the part that we eat, the nice juicy flavorful part, as being the fruit, but that's not the case. The true botanical fruit, that is the ovary wall with the seeds inside, are actually those little specks. What you might have considered the seeds of the strawberry, those are actually the fruits. And get this, those are little achenes, the type of fruits in achene, which is the same type of fruit that I mentioned when we looked at the sunflower. So what's the red part? Well, you remember on the raspberry, when I pulled off that aggregate fruit, I pointed out that tough, inedible receptacle to which the raspberry is attached. Well, in strawberry, the receptacle, instead of being tough and inedible, is actually very juicy and delicious. And so this red part that we eat of a strawberry is actually the receptacle tissue. And this makes it what's called an accessory fruit, because the part that is the fruit that we eat, a lot of that is actually not ovary wall, but rather receptacle. So we'll leave the strawberries and come around the corner and take a look then at these ornamental peppers. So you may have seen these, they're a nice ornamental, and the reason they're ornamental, of course, is they're colorful, but also notice that we can see them. A lot of them are on the surface, on the exterior of the plant, and are going to be nice and bright red as the season progresses. Here's one in the back where they're definitely very red. The type of part that we eat, of course, is the fruit. And I should mention that even though these are ornamental peppers, these are completely edible. So you can certainly take these if you want from an ornamental pepper plant and put them in your stir fries. I don't mean this particular plant. You might want to leave this for other people to look at. But my point is they are edible and they are fruits.